Hello, my name is Jimmy, and this week we're going green thanks to this, the 2021 BMW X545e. Yes, I know it's white and not green, but this is the most green or eco BMW X5 ever because it is the new plug-in hybrid. For those of you who don't know what a plug-in hybrid vehicle is, it's a cross between a hybrid and a full electric vehicle. It has a limited electrical range, but can still utilize a gas motor for longer driving. This X5 with its 24 kilowatt hour battery allows you to go about 30 miles or about 50 kilometers in a single charge. Once it runs out, the engine fires right up and it acts like a regular hybrid, shutting the engine down whenever it's coasting or just not in need. In terms of charging, there's roughly about 5 to 6 hours on level 2 and about 17 when you're using 120. This 45e model is brand new. Well, it's a new generation, but it also replaces the previous xDrive40e. Under the hood now, there's a 3-liter inline-6 rather than the 4-cylinder that it had before, and the battery capacity has doubled, giving the X5 actual usable range for its potential buyers. Speaking of range, check this out. You can always see how much range you have within the BMW Connected app, or if you have an Apple Watch, you can use that as well. You can also lock doors, activate the preconditioning, just to make it a little bit more comfortable before you set off. First, let's take a look at the X5 here. This specific one that we have has a lot of M Sport bits and pieces on it. Looks quite aggressive. Those bits and pieces includes a sportier front and rear end, side skirts, bigger brakes, bigger wheels, and even a bunch of blacked out pieces. Unlike some other manufacturers, BMW doesn't highlight the fact that this is a plug-in hybrid vehicle. The only way to tell is the additional flap on the front fenders for the charge port and the little E on the rear badge. Overall, the X5 has always looked great, so I honestly don't see much complaints here. Let's move on to the trunk here. Within the trunk itself, we actually do lose a little bit of space comparing to the regular model. There's 1 cubic feet less. The reason for this reduced amount of space is because the battery itself lives underneath the floor. But honestly, it's not that noticeable. Most users would just like the fact that the trunk is a dual action tailgate, allowing you to easily load items in and out of the trunk area. As for room back here in the rear seats, well, this is an X5. So the seats themselves are nice and wide, plenty of headroom, plenty of legroom, and on this model you get soft closed door, which I of course did not demonstrate properly here. There's blinds on the sides, 4-zone climate control, as well as heated seats back here, although some of those items are an optional extra. Since it's 2021 and we're glued to our devices, BMW has added USB-C charge ports in the middle of the back seats along with this little flap. They're here to add accessories, so you can buy things to hang your jacket, for example. One thing you do lose out on with the plug-in hybrid is the ability to add the third row. Not that the third row was really a viable option anyways, as it was quite tight. Let's move over to the front. Moving to the front seats, the first thing you'll notice are these sill extensions. While they do make the vehicle look a whole lot better, they do get the back rear pants nice and dirty when you're getting in and out of the vehicle, as you're inevitably going to be sliding down and over these sills. In any case, the front seats themselves are really comfortable. It's probably because this specific X5 does come with the premium enhanced package, which does come with the comfort front seats. They're plush yet firm, and it really strikes a good balance. The seats themselves are heated, but they do lack ventilation or massaging features. You need to step up to the Premium Excellence package for that. In front of the driver, we find BMW's traditional steering wheel. These certainly aren't reinventing that. But behind the wheel sits a digital cluster that's a little bit different. As this is a plug-in hybrid, instead of a tach, it shows how much power you're using in a percentage form. It makes sense, as when the vehicle is in full electric mode, a tach is, well, just not needed. But what you can do is you can switch it to sport mode and you can see the tach sitting absolutely at 0, which is unique. Overall, this interior is a really nice place to be. BMW has put in a lot of really good materials, but everything is still very easy to use. All the climate control can be accessed via this row of buttons. The iDrive is very intuitive. The infotainment system features wireless Apple CarPlay, and it's absolutely seamless. And the unit itself, while it does have a lot of options, the layout is simple, it's easy to use, and thanks to the touchscreen, anyone can easily navigate around with just a touch of the screen. Anyways, let's go for a drive, but before we can do that, we gotta use this $850 option, this crafted clarity shifter. It's beautiful, isn't it? Now that we're on the road, let's first talk about power. Underneath the hood, there is a 3-liter inline-6 paired with an electric motor. Together, it makes 389 horsepower and 443 pound-feet of torque. That electric motor alone, well, it's still able to make 111 horsepower, which is 83 kilowatts, and 195 pound-feet of torque. Now, I know what you're thinking. Those numbers, they're pretty low. 111 horsepower, that really isn't a lot. But this still has a gearbox in between. And because of that, it's able to multiply that power. So it actually feels pretty sprightly. With just the electrical motor, it's still able to reach 84 miles per hour or 135 kilometers per hour. That's definitely not bad. However, when you pair that electrical motor as well as that internal combustion engine together, you get the traditional BMW feel. 0 to 60 then comes in at 5 seconds. And actually, let's put it into sport mode here. Wake up that engine. It actually sounds decent as well. In terms of handling, this is still a BMW after all. And because of that, well, BMW definitely put a lot of work into it. Yes, it does weigh more than the traditional X5, but in a corner, you hardly feel it. It's still very planted. It's actually quite enjoyable. It definitely has the traditional BMW feel when you're driving this vehicle. And that's quite important for a vehicle that is supposed to be a sport utility vehicle. In terms of feel, well, this X5 definitely doesn't have as much feel as the last X5 that I drove, which was the X5M. But, I mean, that should be obvious. This is supposedly a commuter, whereas the X5M is like a supercar killer. So, yeah, it's definitely normal. I don't feel like it's lacking anything, but for those who are really looking for the true end performance, this isn't it. In any case, let's pull over here and summarize everything up nicely for this BMW X545e. Is it the one to replace the base X5? Well, it kind of depends. The plug-in hybrid makes a lot of sense. For some, the infrastructure within their city just isn't there yet for a full electric vehicle. I mean, here in Vancouver, the charge points are definitely few and far between. A plug-in hybrid vehicle like this is designed for you to charge your vehicle at night, and in the morning, you get a full charge to do whatever you need. It's not a vehicle designed to save you money overall, as the starting price of the X545e, $83,500 Canadian dollars. And as tested, it's $100,400. And you can still add options on top of that. But depending on where you live, there may be government incentives. And if you take that into account, this 45e may be better value than the X40i. In the long run, this makes a whole lot of sense. As long as your commute doesn't exceed 50 kilometers, you can drive in full electric mode, not using any fuel whatsoever. And when you do need to travel a little bit further, well, the engine is right there for you. And with the gas tank, you get about 600 kilometers or so of total range. That's plenty. And that's really it. It makes sense for a lot of people, may not make sense for you. It's not for everyone. But with the added range, it makes a lot more sense than the previous version. And with the 3-liter inline-6, it actually has a whole lot more power than the previous as well, which is always nice. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Like the video if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.